Cricbuzz Chatter once again. This time from Melbourne, the series level 1-1 coming here today at the MCG for the Boxing Day test. And I promise you, we've talked a lot about how it is on Boxing Day. 87,000 people watching a test match. Bumrah bowls the first over, maiden over, big round of applause. Konstas hits a boundary, yay, good applause. It was like you just wanted to say, record this and keep it and play it in loop, man, because I don't know when we are going to see this in test match cricket. DK, you would have absolutely enjoyed it here. I will also tell you one other thing. You would have spoken more Tamil in Melbourne today than in Chennai.
Why not Telugu, Harsha?
Everybody's here.
I know.
Yesterday I went for a walk.
Huh?
I went for a walk yesterday, and the first five languages I heard. There was six languages. There was one Chinese, I think, which I didn't pick up. The other five languages I heard in order of my hearing them were Punjabi, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi, and Tamil. And I didn't hear Gujarati. Can you imagine? So the six major languages, I heard five of those. So it is a carnival. It is a festival. Everybody from India is here, and they would have liked nothing better than to have seen a more powerful performance today. DK, I'll get your thoughts very quickly on one thing. This is where it ended. 311 for six with the extra half hour. They still bowled four over short, but the scoreboard kept saying they were on par. Labuschagne 72. It was a laboured innings, really laboured innings from Labuschagne, but he used up deliveries, put runs on the board. He said he wanted to bat like Pujara. He batted in terms of balls, face, and runs. Yes, he did bat like Pujara. I think Pujara is a prettier batter. Stephen Smith looked very good, 68, but the talking points today was Sam Konstas. 60 and 65 balls, made a 50 and 55, 56 balls. And I'll tell you who Sam Konstas reminded me of. Last year, in Bangalore, there was a game between Sunrisers and RCB. And I saw a young man suddenly starting to scoop over slip. And he kept scooping over slip. And so I thought 19-year-old Konstas has learned from DK. What did you make of that innings? Okay, let me put that in focus first, and then I'm not giving you a chance to talk, I know, but I'll just try to put everything in focus. George Bailey, the selector from Australia, had said, we want to present Bumrah with a different challenge. And Konstas said that I have my plans ready. He's a tall, young kid, simple kid. I'm in the lift. He comes and says, hi, I'm Sam. I said, yeah, you're tall. But so given that they had come with plans and the whole idea was to upset Bumrah, how did the Konstas innings and the Australia start look to you?
First up, I'm hoping you had a superb Christmas, Harsha, because it was a great one in India because of exactly the reasons that you had said. Not only the festival in itself, just the outlook towards what the series was going to be like. And who started it off? Pat Cummins by winning the toss. There itself, it was a bit of a body blow. In Melbourne, you want to win the toss because batting first makes a huge difference. But in walks Sam Konstas. And I must admit, he's a bit from the modern playbook, Norsha. He got beaten a few times and he realized that, yes, I might have had a plan, but the plan now is I need to attack. How am I going to attack? I'm going to play shots that people generally see in white ball cricket, period. If I get out doing that, well, so be it. But I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it fearlessly. Hats off to him. The big question I always think about when such things happen is, can he do it consistently? A couple of failures, will it deter him from doing it? We'll know answers to that on another day. But to answer your question, they wanted to target Bumrah because his first spell has been very venomous and something that has decided test matches so far. They didn't want to let that happen. And I must admit, they have won that battle, helping Australia get into a good position post Bumrah's first spell.
I mean, his first over, he played and missed three times. In his second over, he played and missed again. The first 10 balls, Australia's openers had played and missed seven times. And then he said, look, I've just got to give it a go. And yet, DK, with all your IPL experience and meeting this next gen cricketers, there is a lot of, even your generation maybe, might have thought, what if I get out?
True.
This generation only sees the upside, right? I mean, I'm just talking about younger players. They see the upside. What if it comes off? And with Konstas, it came off today. I mean, another set of people would have said, if he's bowled reverse scooping on zero on Boxing Day morning, what is this game coming to? And there would have been lectures everywhere. But it came off, and good on him. Because it came off, I think he backed himself.
True, Harsha. I think the last couple of words that you said is very important. You need to back yourself. You need to believe that's your plan. And when you hear Sam Constas' interviews in the lead up to the game, he said, I have a plan. I'm not going to say what it is. And you could pretty much see from the way he was practicing, even when he had a practice session against Manas Labuschagne, it was all about playing the sweep and the reverse scoop. That's a lot what he practiced because he realized that's one way to target Bumrah, irrespective of the way that he's swinging the ball. It has got to be slightly on the fuller side, and let me use that to my advantage. He did that. But what was amazing is his shots that followed up, he was backing away, stepping out, these kind of things to fast bowlers, which you generally don't see. And you see Harry Brook batting. He plays the lap sweep. Some not lap sweep actually. He goes up and over a lot more. We've seen Joe Root play the lap sweep, but he backs it up with some normal cricketing shots. But this one was a very, what do I say, a knock that you play in the back end of a white ball game. He was backing away, cutting, those kind of shots. But as I said, the credit to him is he backed his plan. And I don't think, like you said, the younger generation is thinking, what happens if I fail? They're like, when it happens, I'll deal with it at that time. For the moment, this is my plan. I feel this is the best way to go after him. I'm going to do it. Keep it very simple. And he has done that. And in a way, whether he's helped himself or not, he definitely helped Usman Khawaja because the first 4 overs of Bumrah's spell, Khawaja didn't play a ball of Bumrah. Now, that is a tremendous pressure eased. By the time Khawaja played him, the ball wasn't swinging as much, nor was Bumrah in the frame of mind that he would have been if he had bowled much earlier.
Head to head for Bumrah versus Khawaja was 17 runs of 71 balls, 4 times out of the outside edge, out of the inside edge. So he's been out edging. He's been out from the inside half bowled as well. So he doesn't know which side the ball is going. I thought that was one of the biggest things. And there's a school of thought that when Khawaja was opening with Warner, it was a similar effect. Warner was taking the pressure off Khawaja. So today, this young kid did. And then there was this other partnership. So Konstas was. 20 minutes after he got out, DK, he came out again. At the MCG, when you come out of the players' area onto the ground, there's that little tunnel, and then you come out onto the ground. He is there signing autographs, taking selfies, giving thumbs up to cameras. He did an interview while he was batting to. He was just so chilled, and I enjoyed the approach. It will come off some days, it won't come off some days, but I love the refreshing approach. And hang on, it did throw Bumrah off, so it worked. Bumrah is the interesting one today. First 2 overs maiden overs. Next 4 overs he conceded 38 because of all these shots. But it is a quality of great people. 6 overs 38. Next 15 overs 3 for 37. Comes back with the second ball. He's incredible.
Harsha, this tour scoreline would have been very different if Jasprit Bumrah was around.
I love how you did. It's such a South Indian thing to do. The score, you did that namaste. But you're absolutely right.
No, literally, without the man, you just get the feeling that where are the wickets going to come from? Yes, we get the odd wicket from other bowlers, no doubt. But the pressure that he creates is immense, Harsha. 6 overs 38 in his first spell, and he's been hit for a 6 after 2021 Jan is when they hit him. That itself tells you volumes of how this bowler has bowled over a period of time in Test cricket. But just his records speak for himself. Outstanding. He was just again today, came back. Even in the last new ball, Alex Carey at the back end of the day wasn't trusting himself to play normal cricketing shots. He was stepping away. He was coming into the line and just flicking the ball if required, doing everything to unsettle Bumrah. The players who don't probably back themselves in defense are playing ultra-aggressive shots, is what I have noticed from Australia so far. And looks like we have to get used to this method of playing. Players are investing a lot more time in being ultra-aggressive and dominating than being passive and backing their defense to get them out of trouble these days.
India did something interesting while that was going on. They tried to unsettle the young kid. Now, already this young kid doesn't know fear. If he knows fear, he's not batting the way he does. So you had Siraj going and chatting with him, and I'll be upfront. I was very disappointed with what followed. There will be a defense that Virat Kohli's camp will put forward, saying, "Look, he was just walking and Konstas should have moved aside. I think the visual evidence is to the contrary, and I I was a little disappointed for two reasons. One is as a senior statesman, but more important, by walking into Konstas, you're telling a young kid on debut that he's got under your skin. And I think, I mean, we're just reading as we speak about a 20% match fee fine and what demerit point. If I was Virat Kohli, I'd be laughing in my hotel room for getting away with that. I mean, we were all in the commentary box, and the senior people, not just me. There are a lot of senior people, lots of great cricketers, and everyone was expecting a far bigger punishment.
Yeah, generally, when you have any sort of physical altercation, the penalty could be pretty harsh and understandably so. But yes, the moment at which it occurred, just you have to put it down to the frustration that has crept up. I don't think India saw an opener on debut coming out to do that. And when that happened and it carried on for a bit longer than they would have liked, they weren't liking the feeling of this new targeted approach by Australia. You have to put it down to that, as simple as that.
And yet, it was look, he was targeting Bumrah. I was very interested in seeing Bumrah's response. Right, the fielder's response, they can do what they want. Bumrah's response, he didn't snarl at the bowler, at the batter. He didn't walk up to the batter and ask him about his parents and his family. He said, "Okay, what can I do?" Bowled the odd bouncer, bowled a slower ball, bowled a fabulous Yorker that was getting into leg stump, which he got his bat down at the last minute and played down to third man for four. So Bumrah was trying to find a cricketing solution to this, which I think is the way to go about in our sport. But it was something that I hope we don't see too much of. It wasn't something that we liked very much. So let's move on from there. I will say again that I think Kohli is a bit lucky to get away with that, with the extent of that punishment. And here in Australia, it will be talked about a great deal tomorrow. Uh, that's up to them. You give them an opportunity to do that as well. Steve, two worrisome things towards the end of the day. DK, one is Steve Smith is just looking like Steve Smith again, and Bumrah has already bowled 21 overs today.
I don't know. I mean, when you just asked me that question, I was just thinking, which is the bigger evil? Bumrah being in a way tired and bowling as much, or the Steven Smith that we kind of get worried, someone who scored 400s in 4 test matches as well. The positions that he was getting into, the way he was manipulating the field and batting at a very fair strike rate. Just look at that bowling card. One man stands out in the wickets column and the overs column. Jasprit, Bumrah, 3 wickets and 21 overs. The others, you could see, you don't read too much from those numbers, but the one thing that you've seen the match, you realize pressure was created by 2 out of the 3 fast bowlers. Akashdeep, I thought, again, was very good, troubled all the batters, but it was Bumrah who did the bulk of the heavy lifting yet again. I mean, in an ideal world, you'd have seen liked Akash to have 2 or 3 as well, because that's how well he bowled. Siraj, on the other hand, wasn't as good as we're used to seeing him, and it hasn't been the series, the way he started to the way he is today, hasn't been that great for him personally. But have to say, Akashdeep has impressed one and all. And what surprises me is they gave him the second new ball. Bang, the wicket came. Left-hander round the wicket from just a beautiful ball. I don't know why they're not trusting him with the new ball as well. Yes, Siraj has has played a lot more test matches. I agree. But you have to say at the moment, looking at how both the test matches have panned out, Akashdeep, in a way, is begging with his skill, saying, "Give me the new ball, I can make a difference." The stats, the records also say when given the new ball in the first spell, he makes a difference. And that early wicket, even to a Khwaja, could have made the difference. But only Team India would know why they haven't opted for Akashdeep as the new ball bowler. But these 2 bowlers stood out. I thought the spinners, especially Washington, did a decent role in just holding up one end. But overall, again, it was a day that could have looked very different if not for a couple of shots that Australia played, which helped India to get back or claw back into the game.
Since you mentioned that, yeah, I thought Washington bowled well too. Jadeja was the interesting one, pitching short. You don't see that too often. From time to time, he was pitching short. It's 2 test matches now that he's going at about 4 and over, which is very un-Jadeja like. It's like saying he misfielded twice on the boundary. Jadeja is a master of length. and him bowling short was a bit of a worry. But on that topic, we just saw that bowling card with 6 names in it. I'm going to get your point of view on the team because we're going to go straight into hotspot. What did you make of that side? I mean, my impression was, let me tell you quickly before I come to you, if Washington Sundar has to play, if they think it's 40 degrees, it'll dry out, might take spin, we want a second spinner, you would have thought he would come in for Nitish Kumar Reddy. So effectively now, by leaving out Shubman Gill, you have rated Nitish Reddy as a batter because he's a sixth bowler. So clearly he's in this team as a batter who bowls. You've rated him above Gill as a batter. That was my reading on first glance. What did you make of that side?
It's a 11 that they've played on current form. If you just looked at the way Gill and Nitish Kumar Reddy have batted in this Australian series, you'd probably say Nitish Kumar has shown a bit more promise. It's always a tough one, isn't it? Which way do you tilt? Do you kind of back the guy who's done well for you in some time, or the guy who's actually batting well today? It's always a 50-50 call, and they've tilted towards Nitish Kumar Reddy mainly for the batting, but also the fact that he could give a few overs with the ball. And the fact that Jadeja batted the way he did in the previous innings must have given them confidence to bat him at number 6. Now, this current support staff have gone with what they feel has happened and unfolded in front of them. Rahul Dravid used to be someone who backed people with related to what they have done over a period of time. For example, even if Ishan Kishan was batting well, when Shreyas Iyer came back into the Asia Cup, he found his place in the 11. Even though Ishan Kishan had got a good number of scores during that tournament, just in the lead up to the tournament as well, he backed players who had done well for him before, and he had this method where one kept coming after another, and if one failed, then the other person came in. In this current set, it's a bit more of who's batting well today, who's batting well for the series that I would feel, and hence that person would play. That's the kind of approach and attitude that they've gone for.
And you've got to hope it goes well because everything I've seen of Nitish Reddy so far has been promising. Even when he comes into bowl, look, I don't think he's ever going to be a frontline bowler. But within what he has, with Rishabh Pant standing up, he was bowling tight, he was bowling wicket to wicket, and he wasn't giving away too many runs, which is what you want from a fifth, sixth bowler. So I'd like to see how he goes. He'll probably bat at 7, given that he's been picked more for his batting ahead of Washington Sundar. So it might work out well. This is initial reaction. By all, my feeling always has been that once a team has been picked, then you back the team. You might show your surprise, whatever, early on. You back the team and you hope they do well. Where do you see this game at this stage now? I thought at one stage it was looking like 450, 460 when they were 200 and 213 for 2 with Labuschagne playing in his not the most graceful, not the most stylish way, but hanging in there and consuming deliveries. So I think that the second Bumrah burst and that ball to Travis Head. I mean, Travis Head is probably at the moment seeing the ball that big to induce a false shot. I thought was in some ways one of the events of the day.
True. And luckily, it happened very early in his innings. He bats very differently once he gets going. The same ball he looks to attack, especially on the off stump. But it was great to see Bumrah brought in immediately after that wicket, and then he made the difference. They were waiting for something to happen. Washington provided it. In came Bumrah. And you could see the logic is bring your best bowler when the batsman is new to the crease, and then hope for that wicket. If it happens, great. And Bumrah picked up 2 in that spell, which is obviously his caliber and how good he is. No matter which part of the day you bring him, he makes an impact. But for me, to answer the starting of what you had asked, I would still say Australia slightly ahead. Yes, 450, 460, we know Australia probably running away with it. But the fact that India bowled well in the last session, the first session went for 112, just the 1 wicket. The second, 64, just the 1 wicket. The third session was when the runs went because of the many more overs bowled as well, but India got 4 wickets. So India clawed it back in that session. That was good from India's point of view, but still I feel the wicket, the way it was behaving, even with the second new ball, tells me Australia, if they get anywhere close to 350, 360, still have the upper hand going into day 2.
There's a lot of sideways movement. Maybe the bounce is not as pronounced as in Perth or Brisbane, but there's a lot of sideways movement that we'll wait and see how Australia do it. But I still think the soaking up of deliveries from Labuschagne and Smith and getting the bowlers to come back for their third, fourth, fifth spell to that extent Labuschagne saying, I want to do a Pujara has probably worked so far. Between you and me, even when Pujara is blocking, I always found the little style about Pujara. He's one of my favorite players. But I think that's come in handy. And if the tail wags tomorrow, then you've got to hope that the batters give the fast bowlers enough rest. I think it's a good point to go state at which to go fast forward. One thing that I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but for Manas Labuschagne, it will be slightly painful in a delicate area. I don't know how you can get four blows in a row over there. It's a very peculiar thing. Everybody laughs except the person who's in pain. But it just kept happening again and again, especially when there was a little the red cherry mark as well, and I thought the cameraman got a little excited as well. But tomorrow, 3-1-1 for six, still a new ball. Pat Cummins in. What are you seeing tomorrow from first an Indian perspective and then from an Australian perspective?
Let's start with the Indian perspective. I feel if India can get them before 350, they would have done very well for themselves. The key wicket is going to be Steven Smith because he knows how to bat with the tail. He bats slightly more aggressively, closing in on 100. He looked to play a few more shots, and that could help Australia just run away a little bit beyond 350. That's what they would like to do. India to pick up Steve Smith's wickets. If they feel that they're only going to attack the other end, that is a bit of a risk, I would think. Their main wicket and the one that they should target has to be Steven Smith. On the other hand, Australia is absolutely the opposite. If Pat Cummins can find a way to hold on to his wicket and get Steve Smith as many runs and help Steve Smith get close to his 100, that would ideally mean they get close to 400. If they get to 400, we know they're going to be very much in the driver's seat.
Which I will add, if India do get into the wickets early, irrespective of when Australia gets bowled out, for India, not only for this rest of this test match, but going into Sydney as well, that first innings has to count. And one of my wish lists, in fact, I said this in a blog for Cricbuzz, which will be out soon. One of my wish lists is to see a Virat Kohli back in form. And I think we've talked about him ad nauseum right through the years, but he needs to come up with a big performance because when he is batting well, he takes the fight to the opposition. The opposition is suddenly like they're thinking, what do we do with Bumrah? They're starting to think, what do we do with Kohli? And between these eight batters, they have to give the bowlers time to put their feet up. Because if you get Bumrah back on again, and if he's bowling another 25 overs in the second innings, he's going to be sore going into Sydney as well.
True. For a fast bowler who's bowled so many overs, one of the most important things is recovery. And in terms of rest, they at least need 24 to 36 hours to just get their body ready for another long spell. And ideally, they should help not only Bumrah, but the rest of the fast bowlers as well. Because if they give a big lead, then you can see Australia running away with it very quickly.
So that's where we are. 3-1-1 for six. Labuschagne's gone. Steve Smith, the worry that we talked about. Sam Konstas, the big talking point of the day. Bumrah 3 for 75. I'll tell you one other thing, though, that could happen tomorrow. Akashdeep will get the new ball tomorrow. He's bowling a beautiful length. Even in the last test, DK, the false shot percentage that he generated was on par with Bumrah. He was generating the false shots. Even when Steve Smith was batting as well as he was in the 40s, he was still beating him off the outside edge, which is interesting. Sometimes off the inside edge is there, but he was beating him on the outside edge.
There was one ball that I vividly remember in this, with almost the second new ball, I think he bowled it in from wide of the crease and it was almost middle and leg and this came back and hit Steven Smith in a very uncomfortable place. He actually is troubling Steven Smith a lot more than what people think. And I think Steven Smith has alluded to the fact that he finds Akashdeep a little troublesome. I think that's all he'll admit to. But later on, we'll see him saying a lot more good things about Akashdeep because actually Akashdeep has been a tad bit unlucky. It happens a lot to Mohammad Shami in England. He beats the bat a lot but doesn't get that edge. Akashdeep is going through a little bit of that in Australia right now.
Most times when that happens, they say bowl 6 inches fuller, 8 inches fuller, 10 inches fuller. Does he need to bowl fuller, you think?
Mohammad Shami is more release bowler, so he has to bowl a little fuller. Akashdeep tries to go full, he won't be as quick, Harsha. The people will be able to put him away. So he's got to be hitting this length, maybe a couple of inches, not much more. But Harsha, tell me, today is Boxing Day, Harsha. People open up gifts. Did you open up the gift that people would have sent you? I mean, I'm sure your room is flooded with gifts. I'm just checking.
You know what I was doing on Christmas Day?
I
All these evil young fellows in Cricbuzz had given me all the year-end blogs to do. I was
Oh.
sitting and recording year-end blogs. And now, you know what I'm going to do for dinner? You're going to have a spread. You're back home. You're not even in Kunnur. You're back home in Chennai. I can see you'll have a spread. I am picking up my phone, scrolling down to Uber Eats, and ordering some food for dinner.
A lot of our Cricbuzz friends are
Gifts.
also in town, I see, Harsha. Gaurav, Saimi.
We could actually do an IPL Cricbuzz live here because in that small area we have two anchors. GK is there, Sam is there, Michael Vaughan is there, Adam Gilchrist is there. You're on this line. I'm here. It's like a Cricbuzz gathering. And guess what the topic of discussion was today? What are we going to order when the IPL starts in March? Can you imagine? I mean, this is a former captain of England. There's one of the greatest players of all time. They're sitting there saying, right, March 14th, IPL is starting. What are we going to order? Cricbuzz Live is something else. Oh, man. But look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll tell you one thing, DK. The atmosphere today was, I mean, it was hot in the morning, but 85,000 people in a test match applauding everything was fantastic. Even when, as soon as Siraj gets the ball, they go, ooh, everybody. And you can see there's no malice. They're not hurting him. They're just having fun. And I'm hoping they can come back tomorrow as well. Have fun. My wish list is, from an Indian perspective, get Australia under 350, 360. And I want to see 24 end on a high for
In the last couple of
Virat
years,
Kohli.
Harsha, when I just rewind my or jog my memory back, two of the greatest matches that I've ever been part of. One was the RCB CSK game that we played last year in terms of atmosphere, build up, etc., etc. Another one was that India Pakistan match. Oh, in Melbourne. That's
At
quite
MCG.
a game. No, what a match! That was quite phenomenal.
And there's something about this stadium. It's fantastic. So as I said, I'll just repeat. I don't know if you heard it in the middle of our conversation, but yeah, under 360. I'd like to see. He's going to open the batting, Rohit Sharma. So I wonder whether that means KL comes down to 3 or Yashasvi comes down to 3 because Rohit is going to open the batting. So I just hope, I've got this fan kid in me still sometimes. You want to see great players playing well.
True.
So that is my wish list for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I want to see Rohit and Virat bat well. We'll wait and see if that happens.
Absolutely.
We will be with you tomorrow once again. And do join us. Do join us once again on Cricbuzz Chatter. Let's see what the day unfolds.